Hi, I'm Laurie Ruhlin for CreativePro. I'm going to show you a couple tips that you can use next time you have to make a brand new document from scratch in InDesign. So by hitting Control-N or Command-N, we are sometimes presented with the default size, 8.5 by 11, facing pages, and then we have these default half-inch margins. I'm just going to take these defaults and click Create. Now, what I see a lot of people doing is taking the guidelines from these margins and setting up their own structure of a document. So let's say we wanted to have a 2-column layout, but you realize that these margins that are here as a default are half-inch, and I want them to be down a little bit further from the top, and I maybe want a 2-column layout. The problem with this is, number one, I did this on page 1. So I'd have to select all of these guidelines. I'd have to cut them and then go over to my parent pages. And now the problem is when I hit paste, I have to put them on one side and then I have to duplicate them and put them on the other. It's kind of a mess. So that's the first problem with setting up guidelines instead of using margins. The second problem with these guidelines is when I go to page 1 and I want to try to place my text, so I'll go to File, Place here and grab some text. The problem is that when I just click on the page, that it doesn't listen to those guidelines. It listens to, or it allows the text frame to snap to the margins. So this setup is just so inconvenient and it doesn't allow for changes later. The better way to set this up is to do it right in the new document dialog box. So instead of having this a facing pages document, I'll turn that check mark off. I'll also increase the columns to 2, make the gutter a little bit wider, and we're going to change the top margin here to 2, the bottom margin to 1 inch, and click Create. So now that I have correct margins, top, bottom, and columns, 2 of them in the middle, when I go to File, Place, and choose some text, I can just simply click right in the middle of a text area. It's not really a text area, but it's an area created by those column edges. The text frame will automatically seek out those lines and stop. And if I grab the top here, I can feel that snap and it will snap to that top margin. Now, if I wanted to pick up the text and place it into the next available frame, I could do that, but here's a cool trick. If I wanted to add extra pages automatically, I can hold down the Shift key. And by clicking, I'll not only add the text to that column, but I'll also add more pages, and the text will seek out those 2 columns and make separate text frames. Now, the best part about setting up a document correctly like this is the ability to make changes later. So a lot of times I'll set this document up and I'll print it out and the client will say, gosh, that's too much space at the top, or I need to 3-ring bind this or do a coil bind. So can you change the margins? Well, because I set this up correctly, yes, I can. If I go to the parent page by double-clicking and choose Layout Menu, Margins and Columns, I can change these margins and columns and force InDesign to adjust the layout. So I'll change my top value here to 1 inch. Maybe I'll change the bottom value back down to 1/2 inch, and I'll just decrease the gutter just a little bit. And the left value, let's say we did want to have a binding on that left side. So you see those changes were made to my parent page. When I click OK and I go back to page 1 or 2 or 3, you see how all of those text frames have moved to fit the new margins and the new columns. So next time you set up your new document, think a little bit before you just click OK in this new document dialog box. Set up your margins and your columns, and you'll be thanking me later.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to our channel. And for thousands more how-to articles and tutorials, visit our website, creativepro.com, and become a member today. Thanks for learning with us.